Hello everyone, I am Dr. Afzal Saifi and today I am going to discuss void agreements. So the term void agreement is defined under section 2G of the Indian Contract Act. According to section 2G, an agreement not enforceable by law is said to be void. Therefore, a void agreement does not give rise to any legal consequences and it is void ab initio. In the eye of law, such an agreement is not an agreement right from its inception, right from its beginning. So, for example, if you have entered into an agreement with the person whose age is below 18 years, your agreement is said to be void. Or, for example, you have entered into an agreement with the person who is of unsound mind. Again, your agreement is void agreement. Or, like if you have entered into an agreement whose object or consideration is unlawful, your agreement is void agreement in the eye of law. According to section 2G, void agreement does not have any enforceability before the court of law. So if you want to enter into an agreement, it is necessary that your age must be minimum 18 years. And the other party with whom you want to enter into an agreement, he should also completed the minimum age of contract according to the Indian Contract Act, that is 18 years. So if you are an adult person and you enter into an agreement with the person whose age is below 18 years, it means he is the minor and you have entered into an agreement with him. So the legal status of your agreement is void. Void means your agreement is not a binding agreement. It does not create any legal consequences before the court of law. And if you want to enforce the agreement against the minor, then your agreement is become inoperative. And similarly, any agreement with the person of unsound mind is also treated as a void agreement because it is necessary if you want to enter into an agreement, both the parties, the offerer and the offeree, must be the person of sound mind. And any agreement where the object or consideration is unlawful, the agreement is treated as a void agreement in the eye of law. And as the object or consideration is unlawful, hence this agreement does not create any legal consequences before the court of law and it is void right from its beginning. Now I would like to discuss certain expressly declared void agreements. Number 1, agreements in restraint of marriage, section 26. Now the word restraint means to prevent, right? So every individual who completed the age of 18 in case of girls, age of 21 in case of boys are free to marry with the person of their choice. Accordingly, section 26 of the Contract Act clearly mentioned that every agreement whose object or purpose is to prevent an individual from the marriage other than a minor is void. Therefore, either this restraint may be general or it may be partial, but the agreement is void. And therefore, an agreement not to marry at all, an agreement not to marry with a certain class of person, an agreement not to marry in a particular community or in a particular class is void, and this agreement does not have any legal consequences. So every agreement where the object or the purpose of your agreement is to prevent an individual from the marriage in a particular community, in a particular caste, your agreement is void. This agreement does not have any legal consequences before the court of law. Because once you have completed the legal age of marriage, according to the Indian Constitution, you are free to marry with the person of your choice. And this is clearly mentioned in section 26 of the Contract Act. For example, if there are two parties A and B, A agrees with B for 10,000 of rupees that she will not marry with C. This agreement is void agreement because by giving the money, you cannot prevent anybody. By offering the money, you cannot restrain anybody from the marriage, but it is necessary that you must completed the legal age of marriage. And the legal age of marriage in India is 18 years in case of girls, and it is 21 years in case of boys. Although in the February 2022, the government of India introduced a bill in the parliament to increase the legal age of marriage of girls from 18 years to 21 years. But still, this bill is pending. Still, this bill is pending. And as of now, the legal age of marriage in case of girls, it is 18 years. And in case of boys, it is 21 years. And therefore, if the object or the purpose of agreement is to prevent an individual, to restrain an individual from the marriage for a specific period of time, or to restrain an individual not to marry at all, your agreement is void agreement. This agreement does not have any legal consequences. This agreement is void ab initio. This agreement is void right from its beginning. Then we have number 2, agreements in restraint of trade, section 27. The constitution of our country guarantees the freedom of trade and commerce to every citizen, and therefore section 27 declares every agreement whose object or purpose is to prevent an individual from exercising a lawful trade or the profession or business of any kind to that extent is void. So, if the purpose or the object of your agreement is to restrain an individual from exercising a lawful business or the trade, your agreement is treated as a void agreement before the court of law. This agreement does not have any legal consequences. For example, an agreement whereby one of the parties agrees to close his business in consideration of the promise by the other party to pay a certain sum of money, the agreement is void. Because this agreement, the object of this agreement is to restrain an individual from exercising a lawful trade, and the agreement is void agreement. Then we have number 3, agreements in restraint of legal proceedings, section 28. So any individual is free to take the usual help of the court if he is innocent. So section 28 clearly mentioned that if the object or the purpose of your agreement is to prevent an individual from taking the usual legal action against you, then your agreement is treated as a void agreement. Because if you are a guilty party, the innocent party have the full rights to take the legal action against you. So by offering some money, by giving some money, you are not allowed to prevent him, you are not allowed to restrain him from taking the legal proceedings against you, from taking the usual help of the court against the guilty party. This is mentioned in section 28. Number 4, uncertain agreements, section 29. Section 29 states that agreements, the meaning of which is not certain or capable of being made certain, are void. Therefore, it is necessary that the terms and the condition of the agreement must be certain, must be definite in the mind of the offerer as well as in the mind of the offeree. Then only your agreement becomes a legal agreement, then only your agreement becomes a contract. If the terms and the condition of your agreement are vague, if the terms and the condition of your agreement are indefinite, if the terms and the condition of your agreement creates the doubts in the mind of the offerer or in the mind of the offeree, your agreement is treated as a void agreement on the ground of uncertainty. So certainty regarding the terms, this certainty regarding the mutual rights and the obligations created under the contract is necessary for the validity of an agreement. For example, if A agrees to sell 100 liters of oil to B at rupees 40 per liter, so this agreement can be treated as a void agreement on the ground that A does not mention what kind of the oil he intends to sell to B. So if the type of the oil, the kind of the oil is not mentioned in the agreement, on that ground, this agreement can be treated as a void agreement because of uncertainty. Number 5, wagering agreements, section 30. So literally the word wager means a bet, bet, bet. Bet means shart. So all type of the betting agreements, all type of the wagering agreements are prohibited by the government of India. So in the betting agreements, something is stated to be lost or won on the result of a doubtful issue. And therefore, wagering agreements are nothing but they are ordinarily the betting agreements and all sorts of the betting. Either it is related with the cricket match or either it is made on anything is void and it is not enforceable before the court of law. If there are two party A and B, A said to B, if Indian cricket team wins the match, you will give me rupees 10,000. And if England cricket team wins the match, I will give you rupees 2,000. So this is what? This is something stated to be lost or won on the result of a doubtful issue. So all type of the wagering agreements, all type of the betting agreements, either it is related with the cricket match or either it is related with anything else, are void before the court of law. These wagering agreement does not have any enforceability, right? So किसी भी तरीके की शर्त लगाना, right, चाहे वो क्रिकेट पे सट्टा हो or either you can agree with any party that if he toss the coin, if there is a head, I will give you rupees 2,000, and if there is a tail, you will give me rupees 10,000. So something stated won or lost is depends on the happening of a doubtful issue. So all sorts of the betting agreements, all sorts of the wagering agreements are prohibited by the government of India. तो किसी भी तरीके की शर्त लगाना, क्रिकेट मैच पर हो या आप ये शर्त लगा ले कि अगर आज बारिश होगी then I will give you rupees 2,000, और अगर बारिश नहीं होगी then you will give me rupees 2,000. So this is what? This is the kind of betting, and all sorts of the betting are prohibited by the government of India, and all kind of the wagering agreements are void before the court of law. Number 6, agreement contingent on impossible events, section 36. So contingent agreement to do or not to do anything if an impossible event happens are void, whether the impossibility of the event is known or not known to the parties at the time of the agreement when it is made. For example, if there are three parties A, B, and C, A agrees with B to give him rupees 10,000 if he will marry with C. But at the time of agreement, the girl is already dies in an accident. The agreement is void. Number 7, agreement to do impossible acts. Section 56. So section 56 clearly states that an agreement to do an act which is impossible itself is void. So at the time of entering into an agreement, it is necessary that the promise which you have made is possible to perform. If you have made a promise which is not possible to perform physically or technically, the agreement is void, and it is clearly mentioned in section 56 in the definition. An agreement to do an act which is impossible itself is void. For example, there are two parties A and B. A agrees with B that if you give me rupees 10,000, I will discover the treasure by my magic stick. So this is not possible for anybody to discover the treasure by the magic or to discover the gold by magic, right? So this agreement is void because of the impossibility of the performance of the promise, and it is given in section 56. So this is all about the void agreements. Thank you.